Now we're going to talk about something that affects anyone who travels in the U.S. airports because TSA pat-downs, a lot of people felt they were invasive in the past. Well, brace yourselves because according to new rules, pat-downs are about to get much more rigorous. Up until recently, TSA had 5 different ways to frisk someone who opted for the pat-down instead of a scanning machine. Well, now there's going to be this universal approach described as more comprehensive. Screeners will now be allowed to cup genitals, other sensitive areas during these secondary searches. But here's why. 8 firearms per day are confiscated at American airports. People trying to bring, not saying always purposely, trying to bring firearms past security into the airport.
I didn't know this, but I guess hiding things in your private parts is not that uncommon, so. I don't know about you all, but I'm not ready for any cupping by some dude.
Well, and it would be same-sex pat-downs. It all came from a 2015 audit from the Department of Homeland Security, and they found that there's just too many handguns and weapons being brought in. So, first of all, I want to dispel any myths out there. That little scanner that you go through is 0 radiation. It is a radio frequency that has no ill adverse health effects, so you shouldn't be afraid to put your arms up and have the thing go and walk through. And if you are flagged from that, then you have to have the pat down, which before they used to use only the back. I've had like 5. I don't know what it is about me.
I get patted down. I get patted down every time I go through because, as you know, I had a tummy tuck, and in Mexico, it's customary that when you do go through that, I don't know how they do it in the States, but you are using a corset to hold everything in, and you're in it for a while. Yes, and it has metal. So every time, I travel quite often, so every time I go in there and I'm like, all right, I got a corset, and they're like, okay, we already know, but they still have to pat me down. They're always nice. It's always a female, and I've never had any problems. But humans are humans.
But they used to use the back of their hand, which obviously your fingertips have the sensitivity. Yeah, the new way is whoop, other way.
Yeah.
Travis, and we talked about it off stage. I mean, it's the times, and they're just doing their job. You know, it's.
And you have to ask yourself,
to accept it.
Why are they doing this? Well, if handguns are being carried in privates, which is a lot of how these firearms are getting past security, I'm sorry, but the back of a hand is not going to necessarily detect it. Yeah. We all know that your fingertips have so many nerve receptors on them for a reason. This is how we have dexterity, and it's a much more effective way to search for weapons. And I think the most important part is having the chaperone. And if you're at all uncomfortable at any point in time, and this goes whether you're getting a pat down through TSA, you're at the doctor's office, if at any point in time you're uncomfortable,
say something.
You have to just raise your hand and say, okay, I'm not comfortable with how this is going.
But if that wand goes whoop, whoop, whoop in your private parts, like, don't put guns up your rear. Like, there's...
You heard it here from Dr. Fun.
I mean,
don't put that gun where the sun don't shine.
It shouldn't be that awful. Mine goes whoop, whoop, at my bra clip, you know, and then they pat it and they're like, it's your bra.
That's kind of a secret agent kind of in the bra.
You know, the price to pay to be protected and fly safely in the U.S.
I wonder if it's going to change the complexion of who's applying for TSA jobs and who.
You know,
I mean, you're going to be getting patted down, and you're going to be looking them in the eye, making sure they're not having too much fun.
Well, you're right though. There are people are mentally unstable, or they have problems, and you know they're all, you know, we just have to.
I wonder if there's going to be
an
extension of background checks and just making sure that these people are stable, because
yeah,
but there has to be something added. Their job when they hire, they do personality.
Yeah, they'll be a little different.
Yeah, and honestly,
check.
a shout out to the TSA agents out there who do the best job that they can. And at the end of the day, we're just trying to keep everyone safe, and we did reach out to the TSA. They released to us this statement saying, TSA consolidated previous pat-down procedures into one standardized pat-down procedure at airport security checkpoints and at other locations within the airport. This standardized pat-down procedure continues to utilize enhanced security measures implemented several months ago and does not involve any different areas of the body than were screened in the previous standard pat-down procedure. TSA continues to adjust and refine our systems and procedures to meet the evolving threat and to achieve the highest levels of transportation security. We'll be right back.